Welcome to Hilarity by Default's weekly Brisco County Jr. reviews, starring the inimitable chin of Bruce Campbell. This week, we're taking a look at The Coming Thing itself, the very first feature-length episode of the series, when the legendary U.S. Marshal Brisco County Sr. is murdered, attempting to round up the venomous John Bly and his gang of outlaws. His college-educated son is hired by a group of robber barons to track them all down and complete his father's work. Along the way, he faces off with a rival bounty hunter, a duplicitous femme fatale, an ambitious inventor, an underground Chinese gang, and a strange, unearthed foreign object capable of gifting incredible powers to its possessor.
I got everything I expected. It was fun, and it did things I didn't expect.
Well, expectations lead to disappointment, Socrates. That's why I try not to have any.
Hell, the opening shouldn't work. It looks like they're trying to do a live-action reenactment of something the coyote would try to do to catch the roadrunner. Be damned if it doesn't work.
You're right. It really shouldn't work. You know what sells that scene? It's a pretty impressive painting.
And I love the part that the one guy's got to be critical of it too, right? You know, like, by the way, the painting of The Rock, I'm getting confused about a large former wrestler getting tattoos. Anyways, so...
But you know what else helps sell that, in addition to what I just noted? It's the fact that the pilot itself actually makes fun of the fact that that shouldn't have worked. They point out how ludicrous it is, and they invite you along for the ride.
All I saw was hater asses not appreciating real art.
Oh, maybe that was the thing. The engineer appreciated that art so much that he didn't realize it was an obstacle of death.
I've been looking. Looking for the coming thing.
His quest for the coming thing is admirable in a way. In fact, it's inspiring and gets indicative of the spirit of innovation from the late 19th century. It also segues into a lot of anachronistic jokes, which are going to become a staple of the series. Despite the fact I think it does come across as a little hokey, I think that it's a smart decision because it allows Brisco County to become a conduit to some of the more fantastical, futuristic elements that we see later in the series. If this is a character that has that bemusing optimism about him, when he comes across a rocket, he's not going to spend 10 minutes making jokes about how ridiculous it is. What is it? No. He's in on the game. He sees it, he recognizes its potential, and allows for more efficient script writing.
We got to make him do something more than just be awesome and a cowboy. What's the thing? We'll make him semi-clairvoyant, maybe? I just like the character of the scientist himself, played by Gomez Adams, right? And I mean, his daughter is kind of playing you can't say the straight man per se, but like that's kind of her role, and I think that does well. And I think that's something they're going to build on. Obviously, you can see it from many miles away. You know, for me, the Bly gang is probably going... I hope they get developed a little bit more, because for now they seem a little bit cookie cutter, but we'll work on that as we go here.
The performance of Billy Drago as John Bly, who kind of has this David Bowie-esque rock persona in this, and I think it kind of works very well and actually helps mask some of the more cookie cutter characters that he's surrounded by.
Well, and let's keep in mind, the dude's name is even Drago. Are you serious?
No, his real name is Billy Drago.
That's great.
How can you not cast him as either this guy or a vampire? It's one of the two.
This is the guy that was able to declare the Untouchables touchable in the Kevin Costner, Sean Connery movie. Mm-hmm. This guy is just a complete scummy badass. And God help him, you can tell up front that's what they're trying for with John Bly. So, like... Of course, this is the guy you call. You know, it's just like when you want someone to play Captain Hook, who do you call? Tim Curry. Who else? Okay, same shiz here, bro. Anyway,
I think the biggest highlight for me was the introduction of Julius Carry as Lord Bowler, and I dare say that by the end of the series, he may be your favorite character on the show. He brings a good contrasting element to the more optimistic Brisco County, and whenever these two are on screen together, it sizzles. The chemistry that Bruce Campbell has with Kelly Rutherford, who plays Dixie Cousins, is biting. She plays this sultry, almost conniving in her own way character, and the byplay that she has with Bruce Campbell throughout the series is sparking. Much better chemistry than he had with the daughter.
Right. Well, and I think that's at least by intent the first time around. First of all, Dixie Cousins is a lot more of a willing partner all the way around before Amanda is all that interested. That's not a shock to me that this is going to be the early setting and how that relationship works between those two characters. That's not a surprise for me at all in any way, shape, form, or fashion. What I would say though is that Dixie Cousins is also meant to be a much more temporary thing because of Big. This guy's name is Big. What the hell is that trash? Is that really his name? Big? Oh, okay. Yeah. Big. Whatever. So, I mean, that's more kind of why that was a thing, I think. I think that's something that they're going to build on a lot more before the series is over, and hopefully it delivers. But at the end of the day, I think Brisco County wins the day with that because he's tight with the professor, not so much with her to start with.
Exactly. The byplay between him and the professor is far, far more interesting. And Brisco also has quite a wide knowledge of chemistry and physics for somebody who studied to become a lawyer and flunked in Greek philosophy. But nevertheless,
that's probably why he hated law.
That joke never worked for me, by the way. Especially later when he recognizes Latin spelling mistakes from a freaking telegraph.
I'm pretty sure you're just feeling oppressed by him because he hated Greek philosophy, but I don't hold that against you either.
You know, I can't hate it when you have a series that has a character named Socrates. I think that alone is a win. But speaking of Socrates, what did you think of his character?
Aristotle, no. Oh, right. Socrates, no, I could really do without him, but I knew why he was there. I did not find him enjoyable in the opening episode, but I don't know that I'm supposed to like him yet.
This opening episode, they do set up a lot of specific archetypes, and he is that nebbish city boy character that suddenly is thrust into the Old West and gunplay and adventure and so forth. His arc is predictable from the get-go, in the same way that I think the daughter, being the good girl love interest, is set up in a very, very predictable manner. It's much more exciting to see Brisco have dalliances with the more mysterious and emblematic Dixie Cousins than it is with the daughter of a scientist.
I think Dixie Cousins makes it predictable though between he and Amanda. Like the hero's not supposed to end up with the sultry one. That's not how that's supposed to roll.
But doesn't it make it more interesting when you actually have a situation where he does? If he does.
I don't know. I think Dixie Cousins is there so they can get the James Bond element that they were going for, like you said there. I mean, listen, to break down the difference between Dixie Cousins and Amanda, I would go this way, okay? Amanda is somebody to love, and Dixie Cousins is fat bottom girls. That's all I'm saying.
Well, either way, Brisco's coming out on top of all this.
That's right. Either way, Brisco County Jr. just as well off as Freddie Mercury, bitches. Boom.
But I think that the biggest star of the piece, I've never seen a more realistic or convincing horse ever on screen than the one portrayed by Comet.
Hell yes. The one time where he was like, and the other time where he was like, going for the green apple. Oh my God. Price, the stuff of legends. Comet is amazeballs, and I'm hoping that the smart and polite horse is a thing that goes throughout. Like, that's always the joke, right? Mr. Ed was a talking horse that gets played on, right? That's obviously a bridge too far, so they make fun of that somewhere in the episode here. But you got Trigger, who I believe was Roy Rogers' horse, and hey, count to 4, buddy. How old are you? That kind of stuff. No, it builds on that and takes it to a level to where it is epic as hell. Caesar Milan ain't got fireballs on Brisco County Jr. So I love that too.
For me, the highlights of the episode, I think the one scene I probably enjoyed the most was the big introduction to Lord Bowler, where they have that face-off with the lit stick of dynamite, with Socrates looking like he's not going to suffer from constipation for at least another 2 weeks.
That's correct.
It's such a good introduction to literally all three main leads. You see pretty much in this one scene everything you need to know about all three characters. The stunt at the end with the rocket, where it's tied to the back of the train, and he's hauling himself onto it. It's very creative. Yes, it's kind of hokey in that 1960s Batman kind of way. He's chasing a train down with a rocket. Until I say that it's Bruce Campbell chasing down a train with a rocket. But that alone makes it awesome.
You know what, Dinos? You're pretty cool, but you're not Bruce Campbell on the back of a rocket chasing a locomotive after taking out the guy that played Sho'nuff in The Last Dragon. Cool.
See, I'm man enough to admit that. And no less, he's chasing the freaking Sierra Railway number 3, which is one of the most famous trains in film history. It's a train that was featured in films such as High Noon, The Great Race, which we've already covered on the show, Back to the Future Part 3. It's the same damn train. There's a lot of Western legacy in this. The biggest issue that I had with this episode was that it really felt padded to be a 90-minute movie. I think that if they had trimmed it down to be a 1-hour episode, it probably would have been the strongest episode in the series, I dare say. But I still think it's a damn fine pilot. Are you excited about learning more about this orb?
No, actually, the orb, I think, is just a MacGuffin, frankly. It was a nice way to get an old guy to beat the out of Bruce Campbell in a hilarious fashion. But beyond that, no, the orb itself, and perhaps that's a negative in the plot. I don't give a damn about the orb. I think the orb's kind of stupid, frankly.
I kind of agree. I think that the only scene in this episode that gave it any kind of mystical threat was the opening scene. From that point on, I'm never quite as invested in the orb. I think it is kind of goofy looking. Honestly, the moment they tagged that box with UFO,
yeah,
I kind of brushed my hands with it. I think the only other weakness I had with this was that final showdown. The show played homage quite a bit to Indiana Jones, partially due to the screenwriter having worked on both projects. But that last scene where he does have the fight with that old man, despite the fact that it has one of the most overused cliche lines ever uttered in cinema history.
You've tampered with powers you don't even understand.
We've heard thousands of variations of that line, but the disintegrating into dust, perfectly echoing, or perfectly paralleling, perfectly ripping off the ending of The Last Crusade, I thought was the weakest aspect of this whole episode, personally.
So what you're saying is the writers going with that device, you would say that they chose poorly.
Exactly. The only other issue I have with this, and this is a totally me issue, this is me just capturing this. You know why it so bothers me is because something I caught as a kid. I remember it that distinctly from the very first time I saw this, when he walks into the Chinese souvenir shop, right? And the bell has a little sign that says ring once. All right, so immediately you're thinking, what's going to happen if you ring twice, right? Well, he breaks back in. He goes around to the other side of the desk. He hits it twice, and a trap door opens. It's a cool idea. It's a cool trap. But I think it's on the wrong side of that desk. Because let's just say that you're the owner. You're the proprietor of this establishment, right? And you have some idiot that walks in that doesn't read the sign. Clicks it twice. Hey, sir, how are you? Ding, ding, ah!
I guess they're not getting any damn service.
Right? Wrong side to put the trapdoor. So on a scale of 1 to 5 comets, what would you rate the pilot of Brisco County Jr.?
Well, I mean, and this is hard for me to do having only seen one episode, but the table was set nicely. I got a lot of things I expected, and they were delivered well, and some things I'm giving time to build, and some things that just weren't all that great and a half. So I'm going to give it 4 finely crafted horseshoes on Comet.
Not bad. I fully agree. I give it 4 comets. And mind you, to anybody that's out there asking, okay, we're gonna be basing these ratings on the show, within the show itself. So if we ever give 5 comets to an episode of Brisco County Jr., that doesn't make it equivalent to Citizen Kane. Although, if one were to improve Citizen Kane by casting Bruce Campbell, I'd be open to that. I found a way to make the most technically perfect film of all time just slightly better.
Groovy.
Well, and after all, usually these are done by stars, and we all know the star of the show is in fact Comet. So there you go.
I just really enjoy this show. I know that these episodes may not necessarily become big ratings hit here on YouTube. I just thought that it'd be nice to kind of cast a spotlight on a feel-good, positive show that a lot of people may not even know existed. If you're a fan of Bruce Campbell, you owe it to yourself to watch or give Brisco County a chance. I think that the first episode is very highly and properly indicative of the series. If you enjoy this first episode, you're likely to enjoy the majority of this one season show. It's one season. It's 20-something episodes. It's Bruce Campbell. Just do it. And then come and check out our episodes right here on Hilarity by Default, where every single week we'll be reviewing these episodes all the way to the final. And we'll see. Have our opinions changed? Do you guys think that Lord Bowler is the coolest character on the show? Do you think that Bruce Campbell is the cowboy hero that you were missing in your life? If you'd ever made a live action remake of Toy Story, do you want to see Bruce Campbell play Woody and Buzz Lightyear?
Can Demos actually build a stable to hold the 4 comets that he just awarded me?
You know what? 4 comets is too much for one man.
I'm dealing in powers. I'm meddling in powers I can't possibly understand.
So join us every week as we cover all 27 episodes of The Adventures of Brisco County Jr. We invite you to watch along and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on each episode, and make sure to like and subscribe for more fun on Hilarity by Default.